Hi, everyone. This is Jason, and welcome back to the channel. Joining me today is Paris. She is a developer and a programmer, and also the founder of Black Tech Twitter, and also the Black Tech Pipeline. Paris, thank you for doing this with me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on.
So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about the developer space, tech in general, and also specifically about Black Tech Twitter. I mean, we all know about Black Twitter. We all know about crypto Twitter. We all know about tech Twitter. But you made up a hashtag that reflects both tech and people of color. So
Yeah.
what was the idea behind doing that?
So I put out a tweet. Really, it was super unintentional. When I got on Twitter, I noticed that there were a lot of Black developers, which was shocking to me because I don't ever see that at work or when I go to conferences and meetups in the tech space. So when I got on Twitter, I noticed, oh, there's like quite a few on here. That's interesting. So I like you said, Black Twitter exists. So I put out a tweet and I was like, what does Black Twitter in tech look like?
Okay.
And I was just expecting a response from like the few followers I had. I think I had like 500 followers or something. And the response was not what I expected. I mean, people from literally all over the world who are Black in tech were responding with their pictures and what they did in the tech space. And it was like phenomenal.
So when you first got into, well, what was it that got you into coding and programming to begin with? Like, was there a something in particular that you saw that you liked and that you thought, I'd like to do that?
Yeah. So I had been hearing about like the word coding. I've been hearing it for a while then. I was a wax specialist at European Wax Center in Boston. And I had a client who kept coming in who she was an engineer. And she kept telling me, like, you should really get into coding. It's so easy. And I was like sitting behind a computer all day just doesn't sound fun to me. Uh, but then this was also like, then I started noticing that Obama was really pushing STEM and STEAM and talking about coding and technology. And I was like, huh, okay. And when I just went to my brother's school, he was having like a school function. And I came across his principal and I noticed like all over the walls, there were things just about like technology and coding and robots and whatever. So, I went up to his principal and I said, hey, what's coding? Why are kids coding? It seems like it's something college students should be learning. It just seems difficult. And he was like, no, there are different programs that allow kids to learn how to code. And they have to because we are in a technology driven era. Like, everything's being automated. You need to have some type of skill set that's going to allow you to keep up. And
Right.
I thought about that and I was like, you know what, that makes sense because as a waxer, I was losing my clientele to laser hair removal, which permanently removes hair, which means they don't have to see me anymore, which means I lose money. So I was like, oh gosh, I really am being replaced by machines. So I was also in school at the time, and I think that week I went to my college counselor and I was like, hey, what's coding? How can I learn to code? And she told me about this program called Resilient Coders, which was a boot camp that taught people of color to code, but they also paid people of color to learn to code. So I was like, oh, that's cool. So, I ended up kind of going into that program.
More people of color, women, going into the tech space. And that's a wonderful thing. Quite frankly, I think the reason why we have so many issues with technology now is because it's a very closed system,
Yeah.
not system, but mindset. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Like with AI and facial recognition, if you're programming AI to identify a criminal, you're not going to program it to identify a criminal that looks like you.
Right.
And I think that's why you have a need for diversity in the space. So I wanted to get your opinion on that about the lack of diversity and also how we can grow the diversity. What do you think?
Right. Yeah. the lack of diversity, like, so like tech is just full of, honestly, like white men, right? And so the side effect of that is that you're building products that are really made for white men. You're not you're not going to really understand a woman's needs. You're not going to understand a person of color's needs. You're not thinking about other what it's like to be in others people's shoes, I guess. So like when it comes to things like AI and facial recognition, you're building a machine to recognize your skin tone and maybe like the bulkiness of your hand. And you don't have like a woman's hand. You don't have like a black person's skin tone. Like this machine is only recognizing you. And so when you don't have people from different backgrounds getting their hands on these technologies and helping build them and keeping in mind, all these other people and cultures coming from different backgrounds with different beliefs and lifestyles, like when you don't have that, your product is so limited. You're not able to reach everyone, which means people are left out and they're left behind. And no one wants to be left behind,
Right,
so
exactly.
that's the problem. And I think thinking about getting more people into tech, as in the underrepresented people, as in people of color and women and so on. It's, again, I don't have the mindset of everyone, but thinking of myself, like I didn't get into tech because I really thought it would consist of hardcore math and science and be boring. Like the thought of that, just, I didn't want it. That's not how I thrive. So I feel like maybe killing that misinterpretation of what tech is. Like people need to know it's really creative, it's artistic, it's fun. Like it's a great career, and you do make like really amazing money from it too. And then you also need to keep in mind that this is, again, you are living in an age where everything is technology driven and automated. Like you don't want to be left behind. Are you going to get a degree in something that is not going to suit you once you're out of college? Like, will you be able to get a job? Will that job have been automated as well? You just don't know, So you need to keep all of that in mind. And even if you got a degree in computer science or something else that's actually in an industry that makes money, make your money and then feed your passion with it, and I mean, that's just the world. That's realistic thinking,
Right. And I mean, that kind of rolls into my next question about the Black Tech pipeline. So when you came up with that site, what was the idea? Just to showcase different people in tech, or what was the idea there?
Yeah, I wanted to create a platform for Black Tech Twitter. I have this hashtag going, I have this community. Like I want to be able to send them somewhere. I needed to centralize everything. And so I'm using Black Tech Pipeline to do that. So now what I'm doing is I'm highlighting influential people in the community in different fields of the tech industry. I interview them. I interview people in Black Tech Twitter who are looking for jobs. So they're candidates. I post interviews on them. I also speak with different companies who are looking to diversify their environments because they're struggling to do that. So they come to me and they say, hey, like, I'm hiring for these roles, but I don't want just another like person who looks like me to fill it. Do you have candidates who may, be interested? And then I go into the community and I ask, hey, I know you're looking for this. I have this opportunity. Are you open to it? So I do that for a bunch of different companies. I do that for conferences, for speaking opportunities. Yeah, it's really just kind of bringing opportunity and shedding light on our community so people know that we're here, we exist, you have a support system, and also there's no pipeline problem because we're here. I'm showing you,
Right, exactly. Well, and it goes back to your point about bringing it to the community. If people, someone will go online and ask the question about Black people and technology. They'll do some type of search, and it helps that there's a page that they can land on that is actually filled with that type of information. You've already created it. You know, it doesn't require them to hunt, right?
Right.
And then as more people get on Twitter, they're going to see you and you know, Black Tech Twitter. And I've been putting you in all my follows, so hopefully that helps. You know, I want to make sure I draw people.
No, absolutely. And it's shocking how many, when that tweet first went out, there were celebrities commenting on the thread. They were saying, whoa, like, and these are celebrities who aren't even in the tech industry. They're just celebs who are like, there's Black people in tech? Like, what? You know? So it's like, yes, we're here, we exist. And so you're just bringing awareness. People need to know this. It's so important.
Right. And everyone, if you haven't already, make sure you're following the hashtag Black Tech Twitter. Make sure you follow Paris Athena on Twitter as well. My last question, and we kind of touched on it earlier. What do you think are the hurdles that are keeping people of color, women, out of technology? Because I know, like, you and I are sitting on fairly decent Wi-Fi, right? And we have fairly decent cameras and laptops. So is it an access issue, or is it an awareness issue? What do you think?
I think it's both, honestly. You know, when I think about access, I think about Black people. I think about, and not even just in America, I mean in all different countries where, you know, the Wi-Fi is terrible. There's just, the service is just awful. It's really hard to get laptops. It's really expensive. And then, you know, just kind of even knowing the industry exists and, you know, the different sectors of technology that exist. I don't think a lot of, depending on where you are, I guess, like a lot of people just don't know. Like, I didn't know that coding existed until I was 23, 24. Like, I'm 28 now. Come on. Like, that's not good, you know? And I'm trying to imagine how many people younger than me don't even know that this is a thing. I have hope that because everything is so technology driven and everyone's always on their phones and they have, you know, Twitter and Instagram, more people are hearing about coding, more people are hearing about Black tech. I'm hoping that that's also segueing more Black youth into this industry. But there's definitely an access problem. Black people, you know, a lot of us come from poor communities. It's harder to get access to even like libraries where they even have computers. Some of these schools don't even, they struggle to get crayons. So I already know they don't have computers, you know, and that's the reality of being Black in America, and of course in other countries, but I'm speaking about America. And then for women, I think we know that this is a male-dominated industry, and you know, I've never been on a team where I had a woman. I never had a woman on my team since I've been in this industry. I've always been surrounded by men. I think it can be scary. It can be intimidating. You know, there are men who love to, you know, some of them don't know how to not cross boundaries. Some men, you know, they don't know how to talk appropriately to women. They talk to us like we're either little girls or we're like puppies, or, you know, it's just, and then the mansplaining exists. Like, it's intimidating, it's scary, and it's annoying. No one wants to go to work every day and deal with that. It's like toxic. It's a toxic environment. You don't want to live your life that way. I think that's definitely a problem.
Right.